I discovered the product about 12 years ago. So I was getting ready to do a big race, and it was at a trade show, and kind of walked by a booth that said redox molecules, and, and I didn't really think of anything. And I remember the person who was at the booth said, "Drink this product, you'll have a great race tomorrow." And I'm like, "I'm not drinking anything before a race. I've already been training. That's not going to happen." And they were like, "Yeah, you really need to take this. It's really going to help your race tomorrow." And I'm like, "No." So I took information. I said, "I'll take information on it." And so I put it in a bag and then went home and didn't really even look at it for a couple of weeks. But at that time, my athletic performance was actually starting to tank. I was starting to be injured all the time. I wasn't sleeping all the time. My digestive system wasn't working, and had been doing triathlons since 1986. And so, and that was like 12 years ago in 2000, I guess 2001 or 2002, I can't remember. And I just remember that I was actually getting really depressed because I'm like, I don't even know how I'm going to be able to compete anymore at the level that I want to. And so I remember 2 weeks after getting that information, I remember them saying, redox molecules. So I started doing research on it. What is redox molecules? How does it work? Because as you know, being in health profession, if there's something new out there, we always like to dive in and do the research. So I
Right.
dived in and I started reading about redox. I started listening to Dr. David. That's what it was. And
Oh
so I
yeah.
started listening to that and trying to learn what redox molecules were, and then did some reading on he had a book out, and I read the book. And then I just started saying, wow, this is something I've never seen before. And if it can help me as an athlete, it can also help my patients at the same time. And so I started doing the research on it, started taking the product. I said, I got everything to gain and nothing to lose. At that time, I was getting ready to do my 18th Ironman, but I didn't. I was about 8 weeks out from doing the race, and I didn't even. I had already paid for the race, and I'm like, I don't even think I'm going to be able to do this race. So I
Wow.
started taking the product, and it took me about 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks before I started noticing the difference. And I started sleeping better. I started my mind clarity was better. At that time, I was living off ibuprofen. I was popping 800 milligrams of ibuprofen probably 6, 7 times a day because my
Wow.
body was just so sore, and I just couldn't function. And to do an
How,
Ironman,
how old were you at that time, Shawn?
I was 52.
Okay.
Yeah, 52. So I started thinking, when I started taking the product, I started feeling like I started sleeping better. My digestive system got better. And at that time, before my 18th Ironman, I was only training maybe 5 hours a week. But in order to do an Ironman race, you got to train 25 or 20 to 25 hours a week. And I'm like, there's no way I'm going to be able to get back to that level of training. So it just steadily started. That 5 hours went to 10 hours, went to 15 hours. I got back up to my 20 hours of training a week, and I was able to go to my 18th Ironman again 8 weeks ago. I didn't think I was even going to race, and I went and raced my 18th Ironman and did a PR by 58 minutes. So I took 58
Wow.
minutes from my previous time,
Wow.
and then um, usually I have to take like 2 weeks off. I only took 3 days off from the Ironman race, and then started training again, and went on to do 9 more races, set 9 more personal records and course records for my age group. And then since being on the product or being on ASEA, I've raced 78 races and have won 74 of those races and finished
Mm.
second in the other four. So before that, I had raced 150 races, and I maybe placed in four of those. So since being on the product in the last 12 years, that's it's just been a game changer for me. And I'm actually getting a race. I'll start racing again this year in about 2 weeks. And my training even this cycle, I thought, oh, my training is not going to get any better. It's gotten better. My heart rate's gotten lower. My power output's gotten better. And I was the other day like yesterday, I trained, and I'm like, wow, I'm training even better than I was when I was 25. And the workouts that I'm doing